Let's talk a little bit about Money in the Bank today on the show, specifically the World Heavyweight Championship match, Damien Priest versus Seth frickin' Rollins, who made his return on Monday Night Raw. Welcome to Assemble Wrestling. My name is Matt. Great to have you here. So this match kind of came out of nowhere for me. Seth Rollins returning on Monday Night Raw. I really did not expect him to come back. I didn't know what to expect for Damien Priest at Money in the Bank, to be honest. I thought that maybe he would have, I don't know, rematch with Drew, or maybe he wouldn't even be on the show, or put him in a tag team match with the rest of Judgment Day. I don't know. I didn't see him going up against anybody for the world title. Seth comes out and Damien Priest challenges Seth to the title match. So it's a little bit of a swap here. He comes back. Seth says that he's Monday Night Rollins. He's coming back for the world title. Question to all of you though, as we get into this. Do you want Seth to win? Do you want Seth to have the world title again? I'm not feeling it, because we've had Seth. Seth was the inaugural World Heavyweight Champion of the modern era here. He built that title for basically a year and went out in glorious fashion in a blaze of glory at WrestleMania 40. And I really love the entire arc they told at the very end of all of this with him. But him getting back and thrusted right back into the world title scene, I don't quite get it in terms of the long-term storytelling they will do. What I think might happen here, honestly, is that they could pivot with Seth into a different story that's not around Judgment Day. I don't really need to see this. It makes total sense on paper that Seth lost the world title and then Damien Priest cashed in at Mania. So Seth is kind of due for his rematch if they want to use some kind of rematch clause thing in there. But the bigger story looming around is Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk. Damien Priest kind of involved in all of that. They just had the Drew match, and the bigger one is going to be Summerslam with Gunther, with the guaranteed World Heavyweight title match. And that got me thinking about today. Is Seth really the one to win the world title? Could Seth win the world title at Money in the Bank and take down Damien Priest? Now, if he did, it would do a couple of things in a positive way. It would forward the Damien Priest Judgment Day story, right? Priest as World Heavyweight Champion, up until Clash of the Castle, I was lukewarm on. Like, they could have dropped the belt at Clash, which I thought they were going to do, and they didn't because of Punk. I thought, you know what? He had it for a few months. It hasn't really been clicking all that much, but the match that Priest had with Drew at Clash really elevated him in my eyes, and it's making him feel more as a credible champion. But it's about looking forward and down the road of what they could be doing with all of this in terms of Gunther, I think, is the bigger thing. And also potential of the Money in the Bank cash in within all of this. So this match at Money in the Bank, I don't see it being a clean win for Damien Priest. If it does nothing for Seth, and then he goes off to do whatever Seth is going to do. That's why I feel like it's kind of shoehorned in here. Like, we didn't have an opponent for Damien Priest for Money in the Bank. Seth come back, do this match. And maybe, you know what? Maybe Seth is going to go off and fight the Wyatts. Maybe he is going to, I don't know, get into it with Gunther before the title or after the title. Like, who knows what Seth is going to end up doing. Doesn't feel like he totally fits in right now. Maybe he's going to finally get back on track with CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. If Priest loses the belt to Seth, then you're looking at Seth Rollins versus Gunther at SummerSlam, which on paper, fantastic match. Like, I would love to see that. I think that it would be hard hitting, but are you going to have, and it's a little bit of forward booking, are you going to have Gunther lose at SummerSlam? Or would he just dominate and beat Seth, and then you have Seth as a champion for like a month? And I don't think WWE necessarily wants to do that with somebody like Seth Rollins. So you probably want to give him a protected loss at Money in the Bank. Now, could you very easily and simply just have Judgment Day interfere and beats down Seth, Damien retains, there's a ref bump, you know, all the kind of the classic cliche things, and then it ends that way? Or do you do something cool where Priest retains, but maybe it's because of the Wyatts? Maybe the Wyatt 6 targets Seth. That would be a really cool story and something for Seth to do going into the summer. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. But I just don't see Damien Priest losing at Money in the Bank unless, could it be for a cash in? We don't know all the participants for Money in the Bank just yet. I had my money on Finn Balor, but he could make it in for a last chance entry thing like a battle royal, and they could do that. And I've slowly started to wonder, could they have a cash in at Money in the Bank for the world title? And then that person heads off to SummerSlam against Gunther. Maybe it'll be Ilya, and maybe Ilya will win it. The thing is with the world title scene on Raw, it's got a ton of moving parts and a ton of potential people to go after the world title, which I really do love. I think it creates way more intrigue, it keeps things exciting, and you have a lot of different people going after that belt, because it feels like you got Priest, obviously, he's got the belt, Seth, Gunther waiting. You could roll up Finn Balor in there too for like Money in the Bank or after that. You've got CM Punk, Drew McIntyre. You have a lot of options. Jey Uso is also looming there. He's going to be into the Money in the Bank ladder match, but I can't see Seth winning. So let's look a little bit forward then at SummerSlam. What could you do? You could have whatever schmaz and finish you have at Money in the Bank and Priest retains, but then at SummerSlam, it may not be just a straight up one-on-one match. On paper, Damien Priest versus Gunther doesn't really excite me at SummerSlam. Seeing Drew versus Damien Priest at Clash shows me that two big men doing chops, do big power moves to each other, could be a lot of fun, and Gunther puts on great matches. But if that was the match, the one-on-one, like Gunther's winning that belt and just ripping it off of Priest. What if we get a multi-man match at SummerSlam? Shake things up a bit. You know that Cody is probably going to be in a one-on-one program at SummerSlam. It doesn't always have to be one-on-one. I know that some people don't like triple threats, fatal four-ways. I kind of like them once in a while. I think that's exciting. I think it's a little more unpredictable. So you could have a fatal four-way or a triple threat at SummerSlam where you have Gunther versus Priest versus Seth. And maybe you want to do that. You have three giant names in there, and it's a good way for Gunther to win the belt. He could pin Seth, he could pin Priest, and then everything's okay. Or Gunther could not win. If it's a multi-man match, Gunther could not win at SummerSlam because shenanigans, a cash-in, whatever it is, and you could have Priest pin, say, Seth, and that way it protects Gunther, and then we're not going to end up with Gunther's win until maybe Bash at Berlin. I do worry a little bit about what they are doing with the world title right now, because the big story is Punk and Drew quitting on Raw. What's that going to mean? It's going to lead to their match at SummerSlam, but with Money in the Bank and whoever gets that Money in the Bank, that piece is interesting, and I think it does need to go to a heel and somebody that they want to have cash in for the world title, not Cody's title. Is Seth the right choice? Should you have Seth Rollins beat Damien Priest coming back so quickly and Money in the Bank being right around the corner? Is that really the direction you want to take? Because if you had Seth get that belt back and they felt like it wasn't working with Priest, for example, which I don't really think is the case, you put in all this months of effort to have Priest as world champion, just for Seth to come in and take the belt off of him, to then go to maybe SummerSlam and then drop it to Gunther. All of that just seems so quick, and just these quick dominoes to get to Gunther, and I don't think that that's what WWE wants to do with the belt. Now I'll give you another bold prediction here for the world title and Seth being involved in Damien Priest and all of this stuff. What if we get to SummerSlam and it is Gunther versus, let's just say, Priest and Seth, and they do a triple threat? They could have Money in the Bank winner cash in during the match, and one of my predictions is Finn Balor does in fact win. I know he lost on Raw for the qualifier, but I think that they could do a last chance entry for Money in the Bank, and I do think that Finn could win it. And it's really intriguing if Finn wins Money in the Bank, have him cash in at the end or towards the end of the title match at SummerSlam. And somehow, some way, Priest will think, okay, he's going to help me retain the title. And then you have the turn, and you have Finn Balor turn on Priest. And then that way you don't have Gunther getting pinned, so he's protected, and Gunther can pick it up later. And you do, in fact, get Priest all the way to SummerSlam with the belt, so he has a decent run. And you can have a lot of ways to protect Priest in there and Gunther in there as well. But I need to know what you think. Is Seth the right choice for the world title at Money in the Bank to win it? To win the world title? But there was a lot that happened on Monday Night Raw this past week. If you guys want to talk more about that, click this video right here because it goes through all of the best highlights and everything that happened on Raw. Have a great day. See ya.